Hey, how's it going, everybody? Pragmatic Addict here. I got my best friend Jacob with me. He also has a review channel, JTJ Reviews, and we just watched. Well, so it's weird. I would say we just watched the first 2 episodes of Beavis and Butthead, but each episode has 2 episodes to it. So technically, we watched episode 1 and 2 of Beavis and Butthead, but there's like 4 episodes in total. So we just watched those. And, well, right off the bat, I'm going to say this. We were, part of, the 5% that wasn't a big fan of the most recent Beavis and Butthead movie. So, when the trailer debuted for this new series, I didn't even do, a reaction for it because I wanted to be, safer this time around. I didn't want to, exceed my expectations or build up this hype. And even at San Diego Comic-Con, when they released this 8-minute clip of Beavis talking to Fire, I was like, aren't the episodes already, 10 minutes as it is? Is this basically the whole episode? Which, I wasn't into it, so I was even more worried about the show. But I will say, I'm going to watch this whole entire show.
This is the first time in a while I was able to laugh the way I was. Because, this is literally
this is our show, dude. And it felt so good.
Almost as funny as the Harry Sex episode. The one with hello.
That is easily one of the best episodes. So upon reviewing this show, or even release of this new series, I didn't actually know how the episodes were gonna work. I was like, well, I don't know if they're gonna release every episode at once or how many those are gonna be. But we did get the first 2 episodes, and each episode does have 2 segments to it. And from what I was reading is that after these 2 episodes debuting on August 4th, they are actually going to be releasing weekly new episodes. So I'm really excited that this is going to be a weekly thing now. I still don't know how many episodes it's going to be, but side note, so last night it was 2 a.m., right? I was editing a couple thumbnails. South Park is playing on Comedy Central. Beavis and Butthead comes on Comedy Central after the old episodes. I literally wake Jacob up. It's 2 in the morning. I'm wake up!
He wakes me up and I'm looking at the screen and Beavis and Butthead are on the TV and I'm like, oh my god, they're playing it on live TV.
They're playing it again. It's on live TV again. And oh my god, I can't tell you. 90s fans rejoice. But yes, on to the review. So, the first episode of episode 1, I know that sounds really strange, but just bear with me. So, the first episode was actually titled Escape Room. And actually, so the plot centers on these 2 girls that walk into this escape room building and they want to do this escape room thing. And the worker's like, well, you need to have at least 4 people in your party. Sure enough, Beavis and Butthead are right outside the building. They actually have a bunch of little milk cartons that you used to drink at school, and they're putting them in the road, and just cars are running them over, and they're getting splashed with this milk. You just kind of see it in the background.
And then they get themselves locked in the bathroom.
Yeah, so
they're locked in there, and they're trying to figure out how to escape a bathroom.
Yeah, so what happens is they mistake the public bathroom somehow for the escape room. And they just basically tear up the entire bathrooms, thinking that they're escape rooms, trying to get out of this fucking public bathroom that they've trapped themselves in. So one thing I will say here about this episode is that, right off the bat, it felt like Beavis and Butthead. Not just the humor, but the animation. All the worries and complaints that I had about the most recent movie going into this were completely fixed. But, it not only feels like Beavis and Butthead, but because it feels like Beavis and Butthead, in saying that, the old series and how raunchy they were, there were times in this series where I was like, holy shit, they actually went there. Yikes. There's some raunchy stuff in this new series that isn't just raunchy, but it's also raunchy for the sake of, today's time. So, overall, my review on the first... So, I'm actually going to say episode 1A. We'll do it like that. Is, yeah, positive. I thought it was good. I thought it was a great start to the series, and I was excited for more. Now, going on to episode 1B, which is the special one. This is the one that we got the 8-minute clip of at San Diego Comic-Con. Basically, so this episode centers on Beavis. He walks into this alley, finds this huge dumpster fire, and he can, like, talk with the fire, and the fire refers to Beavis as his special one.
That fire was a buzzkill, by the way.
Yeah, well, what I liked about this episode, at least initially, is that, so, we're obviously all aware of Beavis' fascination with fire. But this felt like the missing link to that. This felt like, in a sense, like the lore of that. You see, like, you know, as Beavis is, like, talking with this fire, you see, like, flashbacks to, like, when Beavis is at, like, his 3rd birthday, when he first discovered fire, and he's, like, fascinated on this candle and, like, the flame and everything on it. So I thought that aspect of it was, you know, was fine. That was cute. But right after that, like, as far as, like, I thought the setup to this was fine, but the episode in and of itself, I just felt was really just kind of unneeded and just kind of like just throwaway, honestly, to me.
It felt like it was their weakest.
Yeah, like you see, yeah, like as he's like talking to this fire, you would expect like, oh my god, Beavis is talking to this fire, this gigantic fire who's calling him his special one, and it's showing like the deeper lore of how Beavis discovered fire. Like this should be a special episode. And this fire is just basically having Beavis, like, it's kind of like, you know, like, it's not exactly what you expect this fire to be. This fire is basically having Beavis do, like, good deeds around the town. He's like, oh yeah, pick up bottles, throw them in recycling, do some workouts, and I'm just like, not only does this feel, like, completely unneeded, but I don't even get it. Like, what's the humor behind it? I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but I just thought that this episode was not only the weakest, but was like the first like episode that I didn't really like at all coming from this new series. But I will say this, and you know, this doesn't have so much to do with just this episode specifically, but this episode was where I really got the first taste of like, wow, like they're actually gonna go there again, going back to the raunchy material. So like the old episodes, they do cutaways of like, you know, Beavis and Butthead doing commentary of like MTV shows. And in this specific episode, they do one of like, I don't even know what the show is, but it's like, it's these two guys like hanging out at this restaurant, and Butthead thinks that like one of them is trying to groom the other. And just the commentary and the whole background behind it, I'm just like, why? Why? Like, I would go as far as to say that they're much more offensive in these commentaries than they were in the beginning. But I will say this, like, that was a standout in this specific episode, and it did kind of save a lot of it for me. Just, like, I'll say this, I'm not going to go back and revisit this episode, but I might do it just for that commentary. Because I was losing my fucking mind. Now, going on to episode 2 now. So, episode 2, is titled, God, what the fuck was it titled? I can't remember what the hell it was titled, but it basically, Boxed In. So it basically starts, like, we see the boys back in school now for the first time since the old cartoon, and for whatever fucking reason, Beavis has a fucking drill. And the teacher, Mr. Van Driessen, whenever he talks, Beavis just spins this drill and makes this, you know, this loud-ass noise. And he starts drilling his desk and drilling shit in the classroom. And basically, Mr. Van Driessen takes the drill away. And he's like, you know, you'll get it after school or whatever. So, the plot of the episode is that Beavis and Butthead go on a journey to retrieve their drill. So, what ends up happening is that they sneak into this box that they see the janitor, you know, lifting up. And they're like, oh, you know, if we sneak into this box, he'll deliver us, you know, he'll deliver the box with us in it to the drill, which he actually takes them to the basement, right? They're stuck in this cardboard box together, completely sealed up, and he drops the box, the janitor drops the box inside the basement while piling up 10 other boxes on top of them, so they're all the way at the bottom, so they're basically stuck in this box. And what I really liked about this episode is that it felt like a callback to a very specific episode of the original series, which was Pipe of Doom, where Butthead gets stuck in this pipe. Well, that's basically how this felt. They get stuck in this box, and they're in the basement, trapped under all these other boxes where no one can hear or see them. And what I'll say about this episode is that, like, so not even about this episode, but about this series, I noticed there's a lot of things where, like, they seem like, at least initially, kind of like ridiculous, and you're just like, it's a cardboard box, just rip through it. But in saying that, the writing is so smart where it addresses things like that, but then the episodes have this kind of twist where you're like, oh shit, I didn't think of that consequence happening. And kind of going back really quickly to, like, the Pipe of Doom episode, you know, there's this, like, little line in that episode where Beavis is like, maybe you could just live in the pipe. And he kind of does that with this episode. He's like, hey, you know, Butthead, this isn't so bad, man. We can just, like, live in the box and meet some chicks in here. And then it starts turning out that they, like, can't breathe in the box. So Beavis is, like, panicking on that. And one thing I liked about this episode, which is gonna be something that I get into another episode, was the anxiety, like, inducing aspect to it. There's things like that where you're just like you're putting yourself in that situation and you're just baffled by how stupid these characters are and what they're getting themselves into. So what it comes down to in this episode was, and in the series as well for that matter, was the over-imagination of these characters. Not necessarily that the writing is, you know, like, amazing or anything. I mean, it's smart, and it's, well, you know, for Beavis and Butthead, especially in this time, I think it's, you know, even smarter in that aspect. But what it was the over-imagination of just how bafflingly dumb these characters are. And in saying that, how far that goes, so where it actually catches the viewer off guard and how far it goes. Now, this last episode is titled The Beekeepers. So this episode centers on Beavis and Butthead at this kind of street fair thing, and they see Mr. Van Driesen's girlfriend selling local honey. And when they find out how much he's selling that for, $50, they're like, wow, $50 for honey? And Mr. Van Driesen, this son of a bitch, why would you tell Beavis and Butthead this? He's like, oh yeah, we collect it from bees. So Beavis and Butthead have this genius idea that they're gonna find a beehive and trap it and make it give them honey.
And then they find a hornet's nest and they just start whacking the shit out of it. They're just going whack, whack.
Yeah.
And they put it in this box, and then they're about to abstract it for honey, and then they just keep whacking before they open it. And
basically, this episode goes exactly how you would expect in an older Beavis and Butthead episode to go. Like, it reminded me of like episodes, like older episodes, like for example the one where like Butthead's like choking on the chicken nugget, and how just absurdly wrong that goes. And even the same one with like the nosebleed, it felt like that. So, one thing I want to note, which is kind of like a weird note, is that the animation in this specific episode. So, like, when, like, Beavis and Butthead are, like, there's this, like, this scene where they're, like, kind of, like, wrestling with the hornet's nest trying to get into this box. And the bees are, like, swarming around the camera, around the screen. And, like, it's in a blurry fashion where it actually looks very realistic. Like, you're actually seeing this through a fucking screen. And I just thought that was just, like, something where it's, like, it didn't need to happen. But just, like, in these little areas to go, like, that further. Like, I was just kind of like, that was nice. Like, it caught me off guard in a really good way. But going into the anxiety-inducing material, like I was saying in the recent episode, there's this... We get to a point in this episode where Beavis and Butthead actually get the nest into this box, and they're being impatient, you know, wondering, is the honey out yet? So, Beavis, going on his fucking fits that we all know about, he starts freaking out, kicking the box, going ballistic on this thing. And I just gotta say, this might be like one of the episodes, again, like, you know, choke and nosebleed, where I was just like, make it stop. and I gotta say, there is a twist, like there was, and I want to say it was like the first episode, the second segment, where it did have a twist where I was just like, you just gotta go that much further to make this thing even more fucking chaotic. So overall, guys, what my review comes down to in this new revival series is that not every episode hit right to me, most notably the special one, but majority of them did not only deliver, but felt exactly what I was hoping for, even with the most recent movie, and I want to see more out of this revival. Like, I would go as far as to say that this did actually deliver, no bullshit, in almost every way of what I was hoping for out of a Beavis and Butthead revival. And in saying that, a fan of the 90s was saying that. I am seriously anticipating the rest of this season. Now, as far as ranking the actual episodes, which I am going to do, I would say that Boxed In was my favorite of the 4, with Beekeepers being the second, and then third going to The Escape Room, which all 3 of these episodes I thought were good, which obviously the last one, the special one, which I just didn't care about.
My ranking would be Beekeepers number 1. Definitely the Escape Room one is definitely second. What was that?
Boxed In, the one with the drill?
That one is definitely third. I didn't care for, like Stu, I didn't really care for that one. The special one, that was just...
Yeah, it just felt very throwaway. It was the first genuinely throwaway episode in the series.
I mean, you're hearing this fire voiced by a very legendary voice actor, by the way, and you're like, come on, what are you doing with it?
Who's the actor?
I don't know his name, but I heard him in other stuff before.
Like, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's... Well, like, anyway, you're just like... You have this big fire and you have Beavis. Do something with it. Don't just don't just stand there and just have them be, doing kind deeds or whatever. Do something.
I was really upset with how much they could have gone with this episode, especially how the series was looking when it started off. I was really disappointed.
Me too.
But yes, guys, that is going to do it for our episode 1 and 2 reviews of the series. We are going to continue this weekly, dropping reviews of each episode, and I gotta say, there was a part of me that was like, depending on how these episodes deliver, I might just review these 2, but I am glad to say that I will be keeping on board with this season. So guys, look forward to more episodes. I hope that you guys liked this video. Let me know of what you guys thought of the episodes down below for those who did see them and your takes on it. Guys, I will see you tomorrow in my review of Resurrection starring Rebecca Hall. And I will see you in the coming weeks for more Beavis and Butthead, guys. Take care.
And check out my channel, too.
JTJ Reviews. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you in the next ones.